So something has come to my attention just recently, something that I'm surprised I didn't realise. Apparently, I'm Kevin Logan. Hey YouTube, it's Clarissa and I here, and this is not what I had planned for this video, being one of my first videos. But basically, what my video was going to be about is that Agent of Doubt just uploaded a video dealing with quite a serious subject matter, namely death. Now, the thing in the video that he talks about is how he likes going to locations where tragedies have happened, because you just got to experience it. And I apologise for the noise. That is my daughter, and she's having a good day, which is good because she's been sick. Anyway, I wanted to do a video explaining how I kind of know where he's coming from, because I sort of have the same sort of feeling when I go to these places. There's just something different to seeing people talk about them and seeing photos of them and actually being in these places. And I experienced it myself a couple of years ago when I visited Port Arthur. What are you doing? And if you don't know what Port Arthur is, it was the location of a massacre, the last massacre in Australia. And they've got a memorial there, but it's not the memorial so much that I had the feeling in. It was in the remains of the Tourist Information Centre. They pulled most of it down, took all the windows out, but the shell of the building's still there. Really? Anyway, you're standing there and there's just this feeling, this presence, this weight from knowing what happened there, knowing that where you stood, people died, and you can't imagine the fear, the anger, the shock of actually being in that moment. And I mean, at the time it happened, I was a child myself. I barely remember it on the news because I was in primary school. But yeah, I just wanted to say, when you go to these locations, you see the environment, you see what was going on there, because not much has changed at the little location, honestly, in Port Arthur, because it's a heritage site. It's one of the prisons was set up there when Tasmania was first settled. And the feeling you get when you go to Port Arthur is just how isolated it is, just how remote it is. And it's no accident. That's why they chose that location for the prison. And a lot of those original buildings that were there, the church, the prison itself, the hospital, were all destroyed in bushfires over subsequent years. So there's just a shell of those. But the Tourist Information Centre that stands on the site, not the new one, the original one, it didn't burn. It was left there as part of the memorial. Well, the memorial's next door to it. Kids. Now, it's just amazing the feeling you get. And you can't get that feeling unless you're actually there. Now, it's got nothing to do with God, it's got nothing to do with ghosts, it's just, I think it's partially emotional, very much, it's all internal, but basically I have to say that I completely agree with Agent of Doubt, and I understand why he's doing what he's doing, and I don't think he deserves the comments he's been getting, which brings us back to my original thing about being Kevin Logan. One of the comments on his video, well, one of the things in his video was a response to a comment he got on his videos regarding death. Could you not? And what that comment was quite graphic and creative and why? And do you have to? Oi. She's an entertainer. Anyway, his response to that comment was this is why I haven't made videos. Anyway, his response to that comment was quite mature. But it was in the comment of his video where he responds to the comment that I want to talk about. And that was someone come on there and basically said that because a certain word was used in that troll comment, a 4-letter word starting with C, which I don't personally use, but it's a word that Kevin Logan uses, and he uses it a lot. It's like his thing. And basically, if you gotta watch Kevin Logan, you gotta get used to it, and he's not the only one. Both sides of the field use it, and it seems to be quite a common term used, particularly in Britain, although it is used here in Australia too, quite a lot. Anyway, because that C word was used in that comment that Agent of Doubt got, this person, let's just say, Poseidon Children, or Children, who cares, you're a wanker. But basically, because that C word was used, they automatically assumed that the comment must have been by Kevin Logan, and I commented back, pointing out their straw man, and yes, Kevin uses that word a lot. But there's nothing in Agent of Doubt's video that says it has anything to do with Kevin Logan. There's nothing at all to do with Kevin Logan. It was about death and how to respond maturely to comments. And then someone else commented on the fact that the person in the comment referred to clothes pegs. You know, the things you use to put the washing on the line. And because they use clothes pegs and not clothes pins, it must be Kevin Logan. Which brings me to another thing I commented on. Visual on pegs too, because clothes pin, where are they? These are clothespins. This is what we call a clothespin, or just a pin. Here in Australia, we still use the term peg. But then we still use proper English here very much in Australia. We have our own dialogue. We're very, very slangy, and we twist words. But we use the word peg. Anyway, another thing that got pointed out in my comments was the fact that I do spell using the Queen's English. I use an S instead of a Z, because, you know, Americans, when they made their own language, decided to be different by taking letters out and swapping S's for Z's. Yes, they did. Anyway, because they did that, because I did that, somehow that, I think upon the comment, they said, proves she is another non-American SJW shithead like a Herod KL. So because I used the Queen's English, which is common anywhere but in America, I must be an SJW shithead. Now, I'm a bitch, and there are some causes that the SJWs do have that I support, and but whether or not I support Kevin Logan and what any of this has to do with Agent of Doubt video is beyond me. Anyway, I replied again, and then I got told to stop hiding behind your numerous pseudonyms, you pathetic coward, and have the balls to admit you wrote it, scumbag. Thanks for proving my theory whether you're actually Logan or one of his English sycophants. Sorry, I am not great with pronunciation. You people are easy to see through. I knew my post would trigger you enough to flush you out of the sewer. Now, I pointed out... Well, admittedly, I did... His comment was very baity. And it's quite clear from his original comment that he's a Thunderfoot fan. And I used to be a Thunderfoot fan until he took a hard right turn down Crazy Town. But I don't know why that somehow made me Kevin Logan. And he's just replied again with douchebag says what? I don't know, he's calling me a commie limey as well. He's changed the name to commie limey. Because, you know, originality. Because these guys are so original. But it just goes to show, I think it's a good example of how much these guys have to overreach to try and validate their opinion. And I'm not saying everyone is like that. I'm just going to say there are many people on the right, there are even some MRAs which are very reasonable. They will have the conversation, they're reasonable, they're not, I don't believe what they believe, but they don't need to stretch. But it's this, given that Kevin Logan recently had his channel flagged down with false flags, it's this sort of person that does it. And Kevin Logan's right in his most recent comment that you never see channels from the MRA side of things, the Thunderfoot, Sargon of Akkad. Bearing only went down because of his abuse of a copyright of an image, and it wasn't one of the people who hated him to flag it down. It was the actual person who owned the rights to that image, and that's why you don't use copyrighted images. And he's learned his lesson. But you don't see their channels getting flagged down. But on the other side of the field, the feminists are always getting their channels flagged down. I off the top of my head, I could name about 5 or 6 that have had their channels flagged down, but none on the other side. So while the people like Sargon are standing up and going on about how the feminists are the ones false flagging and attacking, it seems to be the other way around. And that's kind of obvious when you look at the hard facts. And it's people like this Poseidon, this Childen douchebag, to use his own word. And it's their ilk that soak up things what Sargon is saying and go on and just attack. And Thunderfoot and Sargon may say, oh, we tell them not to attack, but you're fueling them by focusing video after video after video after video on the same thing over and over. I mean, if I had $1 for every video that Sargon did on Anita, just attacking her, well, one thing's for sure, that hole wouldn't be in the wall. Just saying.